What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Life After Lockup. This is season 5, episode 42. So let's get into it. Talk about Melissa and Joey. So I think they're like our final couple for this whole entire season. I don't think we have any other people. And what I do remember from Melissa and Joey is that Melissa got on my nerves, and I did not think Joey was going to be around. I thought he was going to use her and then like move on to somebody else, but clearly he is trying to make this relationship work. The reason why Melissa got on my nerves is I just thought it was crazy for someone to be like, I think at the time when we got introduced to her, she was like maybe 38, 39, to be that old and still be worried about what people thought about you in high school, and to want to parade Louis around like he was some prize because he was the it boy in high school was just so cringy to me. Cause I'm like, girl, you shouldn't care about what them people think about you in high school. That was just her wanting to like take him to that dinner and parade him around like some trophy. When I'm like, girl, he's a recovering drug addict. He went to jail for armed robbery and aggravated assault. He is not a prize to tote around, sis. He's not. So Melissa's 41. She's a postal worker and a bartender. Joey is 43. And like I said, he went to jail for aggravated assault, armed robbery, and he's a recovering drug addict. But right now, he works at a pizzeria, a smoothie shop, and he's a personal trainer. We see them walking on the beach, and they're about to do the polar bear plunge, basically running into like 32-degree and below ocean water during the winter in New Jersey. Louis said that's something that he always wanted to do, and he dreamed about while he was in prison. So this was fun. And he says, he really likes Melissa. He loves her. He wants their relationship to work. He wants to provide everything for her. We see them in like a montage of them actually like going on vacations together and just really enjoying each other's company, which I'm still kind of shocked that he didn't flake on her, because he gave that energy that he was going to leave her. Because I remember his boss that worked at this other pizzeria that he worked at really like was like, no, Joey is a player. All the girls love him, and the boss was giving that he loved him too. Okay, so they're what were they doing? So they do the plunge, they get into the car, and Joey's like, here you go, I got cocoa for us. And then Melissa's like, you know what else I want? And basically Melissa is ready for Joey to lock her down and give her a ring so they could be engaged. She says she wants a 2-carat diamond ring, something simple. And Louis is just like, girl, simple. And so Louis is like, yeah, I'm gonna propose to you, I want to do those things, but you got to give me time. Like, I'm learning how to be financially responsible. I'm also trying to build my credit score, so in the long run we can do these things and not have to worry about money in that way. And Louis also says in his confessional, like, the most money I've had in my bank account is $3,000. And he also explains that most of my money I spent on drugs. So he's just like, this is the first time I've never really done that, and I just need Melissa to work with me until I can get somewhere. He's like, I've been saving money because I want to be able to buy her the things that she needs and give her the ring and the wedding that she wants, but she has to be patient. And Melissa's whole thing is like, she wants to like kickstart the process, so they keep like, they blitz through it, mainly because I think she said every like relationship she's been in around the 2-year mark, something happens to where, like, she says she's been kicked out of houses that she thought was hers. She's been like cheated on really badly. She's been ghosted. Like, things have been stolen from her. Like, all around the 2-year mark, things just go south. And I think Melissa believes that if she gets the ring and they get engaged, then the curse will be broken, because they show us a montage of like all these guys that she's been with and things haven't worked out. And I'm looking at Melissa like, one, it might be you, and two, girl, maybe you just need to be by yourself, like, and figure those things out. Because I'm like, it's one thing for like one relationship or 2 relationships to be bad, but if it keeps happening around the 2-year mark, that would make me wonder, like, is there signs that I'm not seeing before we get there, or am I blatantly like ignoring red flags and letting these people just play in my face because I want to be with somebody? So we then get the scene of Louis on the like FaceTime with his mom at his pizzeria job. Now, the mama don't like Melissa. I kind of remember that too. The mom had her good eye on Melissa because she felt like Melissa was gonna send Louis down like a dark path again. Because again, he's a recovering addict. And I think the mom also didn't like that Melissa came into their lives kind of just trying to like take over, or she felt like Melissa was trying to take over. Cause she's like, I've been taking care of my son for forever. Like me and him been locked in for the past 10 years since he been in and out of prison. And here come Melissa thinking she run the show. So he's on FaceTime, mind you. I'm like, you're doing this at work? And then when they pan out the screen, you see like people working in the background. I'm like, you letting the whole entire like job know what your family issues are? Couldn't be me. We would have had to go outside and sit in front of the establishment. But I'm not having a conversation about me wanting to propose to my girlfriend and my mama being like, why? In front of my coworkers. You're not going to embarrass me like that. So the mom is just like, why are you trying to marry her? Why are y'all trying to get married so quickly? And Louis is like, because I really I love her mind. I want to see this through. And she's like, you can't wait. You know how much a ring gonna cost? And then we find out that the mom has been married 3 times and none of her relationships have worked out. So she does not have the best view on marriage. But I also feel like she don't really like Melissa. So I feel like had Louis tried to marry anybody else, maybe she would feel differently, but she just don't like Melissa. And so he's sitting in the pizzeria and he tells his mom that she wants a 2-carat diamond ring. And the mom's like, that's a lot of money. That's going to run you $10,000 or $12,000. Do you have that? And Louis like, yeah. And the mom's like, oh, must be nice. So now it's getting to the point where the mom is like, you doing all this stuff for her. You ain't never done this stuff for me. Pretty much saying you never paid me back for the things that you done, I've done for you. We then see this confessional of Louis and his mom together. And now mom is like, we just gonna have to wait and see. And I know I'm gonna be right. And he's like, what do you mean by that? She said, we're gonna have to wait and see. Basically, the mom feels like this relationship is gonna fall through. And because she don't like Melissa and she doesn't feel like Melissa is good for her son. Daniel, let's talk about them. It picks up where it left off, where they're still sitting at the table. Bianca is pouting because Daniel checked her, basically telling her, don't you ever use what you did for me while I was locked up as a way to manipulate me. When I never asked you to do those things, you did those things because you told me you loved me. And so she really didn't have a response. She just didn't want to argue no more because he checked her. So then it's time for them to get ready for his parole, to go speak to his parole officer. He's brushing his teeth. He's really looking at Bianca like, girl, just laughing in her face. She has an attitude. She's mad because, she also bought him some clothes to wear. And he was like, yeah, thanks, because, I would have just been wearing my prison blues. So in the confessional that they have together, she has an attitude because she feels like, Daniel hasn't shown her anything or shown how appreciative he is for the stuff that she's done for him. And Daniel's like, girl, I've only been out for 1 year, 1 day. What are you talking about? And she's like, well, the coffee thing. And I'm looking at her like, yeah, girl, don't use that coffee thing as a way for him to prove that he's stepping up or he cares about what you've done for him. That's very much bottom of the barrel. And also it's manipulative for you to try to throw that in his face. So he's getting ready. She starts to get ready. He asks her, how are you going to feel if I can't come stay with you? And she was like, I'm going to be mad because I picked up my whole entire life to come over here. Nobody told you to do that, Bianca. So they get in the car. They pull up to the parole officers, the office, and she can't come in. I think she was sitting in the car for maybe 2 or 3 hours until we saw Daniel and the parole officer come outside. And so the parole officer wanted to meet Bianca. He asked her, how long have y'all been together? She said a year. And then we find out that he's being granted temporary housing to stay with Bianca, but he has all these things that he has to do. He has to make these phone calls, check into these different classes, and if he's not doing that, then he will be sent to a halfway house. Daniel is excited because he didn't want to go to a halfway house. He was he's been there before, and it's so easy for you to get drugs and alcohol that he was just it's not the best place for you to be. And I've seen that and I've heard that. I've watched on Intervention. I think I've also watched a documentary about halfway houses, and it was just kind of if it's not a good one, it actually makes people relapse even harder because people be getting drugs it's nothing in there and alcohol, even though it's supposed to be a safer space for them to go to after they get out of rehab or prison. So they're in the car. Daniel and her are excited, and Daniel's like, okay, we things are looking up, and she was like, okay, we don't have to use plan B. And then Daniel kind of looks at her and like, and you're gonna take a plan B, right? So they had sex, they had it raw. Bianca doesn't want to take a plan B. Daniel said her and him and Bianca had a conversation about like having sex and doing it raw, but like her taking a plan B. Now all of a sudden Bianca don't want to do that. She want to have a baby now. And Daniel is like, that's irresponsible. Like, I got so much stuff I'm trying to do. I'm trying to like rebuild my life. I'm also trying to reconnect with my son. I said, you got a son? So we found out that Daniel got a 13-year-old son. Same way when we found out True had a 15-year-old son. But Daniel has a 13-year-old son that he doesn't have a relationship with. He's not on really like speaking terms with his child's mother. Like, she never brought the kid to come see him in prison. And he wants to rebuild that relationship. So he's like, having a kid right now is not it. So as they're driving and stuff, Bianca's like, well, I don't want to like wait too long for you to have a kid. Like, I don't want you to have a kid at 45. And Daniel's like, 45 is young. He's also like, 45 is like 14 years away, girl. Like, I'm not having a kid. Like, we're not going to wait that long, but I don't think we need to have a baby like right now. And Bianca's like, I want my baby. I want my baby. And I say, you don't seem stable enough to have a child. I don't want you around nobody's child, Bianca, because you are so immature and you are selfish. And in order to have a child, like, there's a part of you that you have to be selfless, and you're not that. You are very selfish. And so he's in the car just staring at Bianca like, we're not having a kid and you need to pop that plan B. And I'm like, damn, you need to put condoms on. If she's trying to like you, and or stop having sex with her if you don't want to have a baby with her. So this not making sense to me. So Bianca's like, I lost my child 2 years ago. So when Bianca was 21, she had a miscarriage, unfortunately. And now she like has baby fever and wants to have a baby. And I said, girl, you got too much going on for you to be having a baby. You don't really know Daniel. You like, it's not making sense. You don't know that man. You picked up your life from Florida to Arizona. You spent $8,000 on this man of settlement money that you probably should be saving just in case of a rainy day or just to set yourself up. Now you're trying to force this man who's a recovering drug addict and alcoholic to have a baby with you, who clearly he's not even a good father himself because he's been on drugs and alcohol for the past 13 years, but he doesn't even have a relationship with his son. And we find out that Daniel has reached out to his child's mother, but she hasn't responded. He's not really worried about her keeping his child away from him because he was like, that's illegal. But he was like, I do know I need to step up in order for it to look good for me to like have a relationship with my kid. So Bianca is just like, yeah, I want a baby. And Daniel is just looking at her like, that's not happening no time soon. Because then she was like, well, it does, like it could 9 months. I said, oh, you're delusional in a scary way, Bianca. Tini and Rob. So the episode picks up where it left off, where you have Kate saying to Tini and Rob that like, when Tini's not here, I'm going to be here for you, little Rob. And Tini's like, what do you mean by that? And the mom's like, don't worry about it, Tini. Just, look, don't worry about it. So Tini's like, you know what? I'm going to get up and go get me something to drink. So Tini gets up and goes and gets something to drink. And as she's getting up, the mom is like, yeah, bye, see you. And so Tini turns around and she's like, what is your problem with me? And then the mom jumps up and is like, I ain't got no problem with you. So then Tini muffs the lady in the face. I mean, face went back. I said, oh, okay. So then the mama tries to swing back, and I don't know if she got Tini or maybe she did, but then Rob jumps up. Tini's mom was moving too slow for me because I said, girl, grab your daughter, grab your child, ma'am. And so they start to fight. The kids, the best friend, are looking. The daughter is like, oh my gosh, they get up trying to stop what's going on. Rob is trying to get his mom to stop, get Tini to stop. They slip, Rob and the mom slip on the floor. Tini is still trying to grab at the mom. You hear Rob being, mom, stop, Tini, stop. Tini's mom is like, no, stop. Then somehow Rob's mom gets into the seat that they were sitting on, and she kicking like a dead bug on the ground on its back, just kicking, trying to kick at Tini. Tini grabbing her legs too, but like Tini didn't like hit her. I thought she was gonna hit, and I think in her mind she was about to. But I think Teeny realized I already hit the point of no return where I muffed this lady in her face, my husband's mom in the face. If I punch her, it's a different story. So she's just grabbing the lady's leg, and then production finally separates them. Now you hear the mom calling Teeny all types of bitches and calling her a gremlin and all of this stuff. And she, before they got into it, the mom says, I'm trying to get my son back or something. I came to get my son back. So Kate feels like Teeny stole her son from her. And so she's yelling, calling her all types of bees. Teeny's calling her a raggedy bee. Like, they going back and forth. And it's flying everywhere. Production is trying to move them. Rob is telling Teeny, like, why did you get in her face? Like, you didn't have, like, why don't you keep moving? And Teeny's like, Rob, shut up and get out of my face. Because your mom let you rot in prison for 16 years until I stepped into the picture, and then all of a sudden she wanted to come and see you. Get out my face. And so she walks away. Then we have this really sad scene of Cheyenne trying to calm her mom down. Teeny's kind of having like a panic attack because she's feeling like her throat is closing up. And she's just like, if you didn't want to come here on some good energy, why come anyway? You got Kate in the elevator calling Teeny a gremlin and calling her fat and all of this stuff. And she was like, next time I see that girl, if she leave my son, I'm gonna beat her ass. I said, ma'am, you the one that got your ass beat, because you were the one that fell on the floor. You was the one on your back kicking like a dead bug in a house. Like, you legit were scurrying, ma'am. Like, you were trying and you couldn't get her. And so Cheyenne's still trying to calm her mom down in the bathroom. We got both the little girl and the son just being like, they've never seen their mom do something like this before. So like, it really shocks them. So they're good kids because they are trying their best to like not cause the situation to be worse. So then Rob goes outside and be like, mama, for real? And the mom's like, F you, like, Rob, you can be with her. You could be with her. And he's just like, oh my gosh. And I really felt bad for him because he ends up going back upstairs being like, I feel like I'm being pulled by two different women. Then we see them all in the car together. Teeny's pissed because she was like, I broke 2 nails. Rob is like, my chain is broke. And then we see them in the car. Now, what irritated me with Teeny is like, girl, take accountability. Like, sometimes you do things that are wrong, but if you take accountability, it's easier for people to have your back. But you being like, the verbal stuff is all okay, but when it gets physical, there's a point of no return. Well, you caused it to be physical. Like, yes, that, like, she was being nasty towards you. You kind of got in her face, and then you muffed her. Like, you muffed the lady. Like, you pushed that lady head back, and then it got physical. Like, just take accountability that, like, you crossed the line. And I mean, it's understandable because since, like, Love during lockup, that lady has been nasty. Like, you can tell that the only reason why she's mad about Teeny being in the picture is because Rob no longer gives her the money that she thinks she deserves. But then finding out that you had your son sitting in prison for 16 years and expecting him to always give you money, always take care of you, but yeah, you couldn't do the bare minimum of just going to see and check up on him. The fact that he can tell you how many times y'all came to visit him in the past 16 years. And then on top of that, he's like, it's like what people like visiting day. Like, people would always say like, hey, I'm coming, but then never show up. But then y'all still expect this man to do things for y'all. So they get to the house. Rob is checking on the kids. He's checking, like, making sure that they're okay. And then we see Rob and Teeny sitting in their bedroom talking. And Rob is like, why did it have to get physical like that? Why did you have to push her in the face? And Teeny is like, because your mama came on there on 10. Like, I don't want to be around her. You should work on your relationship with your mom. I don't want a relationship with that lady because she's been nasty every time. I'm sick and I'm tired of her. And I'm like, okay, girl. So then we see it's like the next day, but before it became the next day, Rob just talks about how like, I'm overwhelmed. Like, when I'm laying in bed thinking about what I need to do for my family, and I see all the text messages from people saying, don't forget about me. But it's like, but y'all forgot about him, but still expect him to do things for you. If I was Rob, I'd be like, cut your family off. Like, cut them off. If they're not gonna like give you, like, if it's not gonna be an equal exchange of them caring about you the same way you care about them, cut them off. Cause I felt bad for that man when he was in that kitchen being like you could tell he wanted to cry, but he was trying to hold it back. And I was like, I hope you in therapy. Get your mind right so you can leave them people alone, especially your mama. So we then get this scene of Teeny taking the kids to a water park. We find out that money isn't as good as it used to be when Rob was in prison, and that's because Rob would be gambling while he was in prison, and that money ain't taxed the way money out here is taxed. I think he also works like for I think she said he drives 18-wheelers and all of that stuff. So they get a season pass at the pool place, and Teeny talks to her daughter Cheyenne, and she apologizes, saying that in that moment I needed you, but you shouldn't have had to did that to calm me down. And Cheyenne's like, yeah, it was a lot. It was like you could tell that she wanted to cry too, because she just didn't like seeing her mom that way. We then see the kids have a conversation about the whole fight, and the little boy is trying to give Kate grace, being like, sometimes people do things that they don't mean to do, and it was like a bad thing. But then Cheyenne is like, well, she's a grandma, like she should love mom just like her daughter. Like she should not be treating her this way. And I don't know how to feel, because like once you get into a fight with my mama, it's over. And that for a lot of people, especially if they got a good relationship with their mama, once they see their mama fight with somebody, you dead to them. So I don't know. They might not be able to come back from this. But we see that Teeny says that the kids do have a really good relationship with Rob. Remember, I think Cheyenne's father passed away. And then the youngest boy, I think his name is like Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah. He his dad is no longer like nowhere in the picture. So like Rob is all they know, and they really do see him as a dad. And I'm like, do I think the cameras are weird? Yeah, I still think the cameras are weird. But maybe y'all can find a way to go to family therapy, work things out, and just be a family without everybody else interactions and interference. Because yeah, it's a lot. And Britney. So we actually see them go to the government motel that's been given to them since they got denied to move to, well, they didn't get denied to move to Texas. It's still up in the air. Texas has not given them approval to move. So right now they're treating it as if they got denied. So we see them go into the motel. It's very basic. It's like a queen size mattress, one TV, a little table area for you, like two people to eat breakfast, and then a bathroom and, a mirror. And they're both just kind of like, ugh, we really are here right now. Like this cannot be real life. So Key Rock is like scared to tell his mom, because he knows his mom is going to have a moment. She gonna be pissed, okay? Because his mom is packing up everything to move to where they're going. Like she is coming with them to Texas. She's moving with her boyfriend, and his brother is coming with them. And everyone's moving with the thought of like, we're all moving together as a family. So then Britney is like, you need to call the leasing office. So they call the leasing office of the person that was in Texas, and they're kind of bummed about it, because it was a hard thing for them to get somebody to actually even give them an opportunity or a chance, or to approve them to actually move to their apartment complex, because they're two felons. And the leasing office lady liked their vibe, so she actually personally called them to give them a chance. And so Key Rock like tells the lady, like, unfortunately, we ain't gonna be able to move. Is there any way we can get our deposit back? I said, I know for a fact y'all not getting that back. And when that lady was like, yeah, no, I said, yeah, you're not getting that back, sir. They're not giving you that back. So he gets off the phone with the leasing lady, and it's just like, what are we gonna do? And Britney is just like, I don't really know. So it's the next day. They have to be out of the mom's house because their lease with the house is up in like 6 hours. They are still packing the U-Haul. It looks atrocious. I hate the way they packed that U-Haul. I hate it. hate it. The mom kind of got an attitude. You can tell that she's overwhelmed. She's nervous. She's tired, because they've been packing for the past several days. And so she looks, we see her with her boyfriend. Mind you, I thought her boyfriend was her son. I said, okay, Miss Tammy, I see you. You like him young. And so we see upstairs, Key Rock calls his brother in, Desmond, to come talk to him. And so he tells Desmond, yo, we not going to Texas. And Desmond is like, what you mean? And Key Rock is like, well, we didn't get approved. And Desmond's like, what? And he said, we got approval from Virginia to move, but we didn't get approval from Texas to allow us to move in. And Desmond is like, did you tell mama? And Key Rock's like, nah. And Desmond's like, pray for me, because I'm going to have to deal with her when we move down there by myself. But also pray for yourself, because she is going to have a moment with you after you tell her this, and you need to tell her this now. So we see everybody outside. The mom is like, let's go. It's time to go. It's time to get in this U-Haul. It's time to pull out. We also see the mom in the confessional with Key Rock. Mind you, you know that's her son. you know, like they have the same mannerisms, the same like speech patterns, the same movements. I was like, oh yeah, girl, that is your child. That's definitely your kid. And so she's in the confessional being like, she's nervous and scared, but she's excited to take this new opportunity. So I don't know if the mom has ever left Virginia. So moving to Texas, she's like, this is a big deal. And she's never been in a car for that long or driven that long. So I definitely don't think she's ever been to Texas. So the mom is like, everybody, let's get in the car. It's time to go. We got to go. And so the mom and so it's the mom, her boyfriend, Key Rock and Britney, and they're standing in the cul-de-sac. And Key Rock is like, Mom, we not gonna be able to come with you to Texas. And the mama's like, what do you mean? And Key Rock's like, well, like, are you like, we're not able to come? Like, Texas didn't approve us. And so the mom is like, are you serious? Like, you better be playing with me right now. And Key Rock's like, no, bro, we not. And so the mom is like, Key Rock, like, we are all packing up to do this. Like, we're all packing, like, we all are packing up our lives to move to Texas. Like, what do you mean? And then the boyfriend, Ocean, is like, why did y'all wait this long to tell us? Like, are you serious? Like, when did y'all find out? And so Key Rock is like, we found out yesterday. And so the mom is pissed. Key Rock is in the confessional being like, he feels like he let his family down by making this decision. Britney is trying to, like, calm the situation down. But, like, the family is like, we got to get in the car and we got to go. Like, we don't own this house anymore. Our lease is up. So everybody else, the mom's boyfriend, Mama Tammy, and Desmond get in the car and they head down to Texas. You then have Britney and Key Rock getting in the car to go to the motel, and Britney is just frustrated, and she feels like motels remind her of prison, and she feels like she's gonna have like another manic episode, and she's just not happy because she was like, this is not how things were supposed to go for them. And that's where their situation is. Let's talk about Zaria and Troy. So Zaria's still yelling Troy's name from the balcony of their home. Troy is still walking. We end up seeing him like do like a outside confessional where he's just like, my head is all in the place. He's like, I'm like feeling like I want to make a bad decision. And he's like, if I am overly communicative with my wife, I feel like my wife should be that way with me. So we then see Zaria come out the house in new clothes. She done got her face mask and all of that stuff off. And she's driving around and she's pissed because she feels like, I feel like this is the second time we're doing this. Like, this better not be a pattern of Troy like walking and I'm chasing after him. Like, I'm just over it. She also says in her confessional that she got trust issues and she didn't expect to have trust issues with her husband. But I'm looking at her like, girl, you're the one that cheated. You cheated on him. So what did you like, and now that she cheated on him, now she's worried that he's going to cheat on her. Then you shouldn't have cheated in the first place, Zaria. So we end up seeing Troy call his friend Trey. We find out that Troy and Trey talked almost every day while he was in prison. He also says that Trey and Troy have been friends since like they were like 11 or 15 years old or something like that. Trey pull up on him. They go sit on the park bench and Trey is like, bro, what's up? And so Troy tells him like, she telling me we 2 months are back on rent. I don't like that she don't be telling me anything. And then now my mind is just racing where I'm just kind of like, what do I need to do now? I need to go make some bad decisions. Do I need to like go get this money? Cause I know I can rob, I can steal, like this is what I can do so I can pay these bills. Like, I don't want to make a bad decision, but that's how I'm feeling. And we find out that Troy did not grow up in the hood like that. Troy pretty much grew up like in humble beginnings, like very pretty much like he had food, he had a place to stay, like his family was there for him. But Troy wanted to live that fast life. He wanted that money quick and he wanted it now. And so he, like he said, he took the elevator instead of the stairs, and that's what got him locked up and caught up for 6 years. And so his friend Trey is like, don't be stupid, don't make no decision like that. It ain't worth it. Like, but it is like your wife does need to be honest with you. So they have that talk. Troy feels better now that like he was able to talk it out with Trey. And so he's like, can you drop me off? And Trey was like, you need to stop doing this dumb shit where you walk and you keep walking, especially with an ankle monitor on, bro. Is you trying to get in trouble? And I was like, yeah, that is true. I don't know where you going, sir. So we end up seeing, which also makes me feel like, did he really go that far? Because it looked like Zaria went in a totally different direction than where Troy was. I don't know if production lied to her and said he went that way, but I'm like, how far did he go, especially with an ankle monitor on? Can he even go that far from the house? You know? So Trey drops him off back at the house. Then Zaria picks up. She got an attitude getting on the phone out the car. She's holding her phone. She was like, "You didn't call me. You didn't text me. Like, you got to stop doing that." And Troy is like, "I just needed a moment to like clear my head." And like, just and she was like, "You don't think I need a moment?" And he's like, "No." He was like, "You ain't told me nothing." And she was like, "Yeah, I did. I told you now." And I'm like, "Girl, shut up, because that's not the same thing. You trying to gaslight him. Like, it's one thing to tell somebody when all of this stuff is happening. It's another thing to wait until like you 2 months behind in rent and then tell him and then not have any solutions as to what y'all can do to catch up on rent. Like, you don't think somebody's going to be stressed? He only been out of prison for 2 months. And now he's like stressed because he thinks he might not have a place to stay, and he's worried about that. And so Zaria is like, "Well, you were saying you was going to go back to them streets. And honestly, if that's the way you going to play it, then I could go upstairs, get all your stuff, and put it out on the porch, and you can go." Mind you, she wouldn't let him do that because she's the same person that was like holding on to the door because she didn't want him to leave. So clearly you don't want him to leave. You done got this man's name tatted on your side. You in for the long haul, especially in that ugly red like ink. Yeah, you in it for the long haul, sis. And so Troy is like, "No, I needed a place to like, I just need to clear my head. Like, you telling me this stuff and I need to figure out how we gonna get through it." And she's like, "We're gonna get through this together." So then we see them in the confessional. She apologizes and they move forward. Talk about our final couple, which is Justine and Michael. So they are still having this argument about having Michael having a vasectomy. Michael's being bullheaded and just like, this is my thing. You was crying the last episode about you didn't want to lose Justine and you would do anything. And this is anything. And now you don't want to get a vasectomy because you scared your balls won't work or your dick won't work. And it's like Justine said, they not snipping off your balls, bro. Honestly, getting a vasectomy is a less invasive procedure than a woman getting a hysterectomy or getting her tubes tied. Like, come on, bro. And so like Justine said, like, you have how many kids? And you like, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm good. Like, I don't, like, we don't got to do all of that." So he's like, "I'm done with this conversation. I don't want to talk about it no more." And Justine is irritated because in the confessional that they have together, she's like, "I would do anything. Like, if it was going to save your life, I would have cut off my arm, my leg, anything." And Michael's just like, "I don't want to talk about this no more." So it's the next day. We see all the kids. It's like Justine is getting everybody ready. They got that cute, when I tell you that little baby is so cute with her pink little bonnet on. She's holding her. The kids are trying to eat not ice cream, but cereal. It's a lot going on because one of them little kids was eating cereal out of like a red Solo cup. I said, yo. And so we see all the kids, and Justine is just like, this is how the morning is. Michael talks about when he was in prison, all he thought about was like what his family would look like blended. And he was like, it's like Russian roulette. Like, one day all the kids are happy. The next day 3 kids are happy and 1 is mad. Or 2 kids are happy and 3 are mad. Like, you just never know. But he loves his family being in one house together. So we see Justine playing with the little baby, feeding her breakfast. And Justine is just talking about like, this is life. Like, it's a lot. And I feel like Justine might be suffering from postpartum depression because she was saying how like, I haven't really been feeling like myself. Like, the only time I ever leave the house is when I'm running errands. So then we see this scene of Michael going to work. He's talking about how this has been a lot. He was just like, "I like working at the warehouse, but it's been hindering him from doing his music. Like, he's not been able to like go to the studio and make his music like that." And so he's like, it's just a lot. And my thing about it is about Michael and Justine, I'm like, what did y'all expect to happen? Like, I have never really heard of Michael's music, so I'm not going to say it's not good, but I have never heard it. So I'm just kind of like, it's not like, I don't know if Michael has a solid following, because I will say in this day and age, people are able to garner a strong and heavy fan base with the power of like the internet and like social media. But I don't know if Michael has that. And so him not being able to like make music, I do think is a hindrance to his career. But then you have 9 kids, bro. So what you were expecting? And then I'm looking at Justine. Like, Justine, I think, wasn't she like a nurse or like a healthcare worker before she got with Michael? And I'm like, you gave all of that up because you thought you were going to be able to live your best like rap wife fantasy. You know, you thought you was gonna be driving Bentleys and all these like, and I'm just looking at her like, girl, Michael is not a notable like rap figure. And I'm like, girl, you should have been on your Keisha Kaur. Because when Keisha Kaur was like out here without Gucci, that lady was building her makeup line. She was making her like, she was hustling. Like she was making her makeup line. She was still like doing her fashion line. I think she also was making seasonings and stuff. Like she was really putting in work. Like she didn't just give up all of like her business endeavors, or is it business ventures? I think it's ventures. Once Gucci went into prison. Like, and then when he got out, she kept going. Like, Justine just gave that up. And I think she expected life to go a certain way, and it hasn't. And so it's just a lot. And it seems like a lot, okay? That's a lot of kids. And even though the house is a nice size, it ain't big enough for all of them. Okay, and it's a lot of personalities in that house. So Justine's in the car. She's running the errands with the baby. Next thing you know, she gets a phone call from her son, Santana. Santana is like crying on the phone, like, come home, mom, just come home. Like, mom, come home. And so now Justine is stressed because, you know, your child is calling you, telling you to come home. And she's like freaking out and worried that something bad has happened. So she gets home. When she gets home, Michael gets home at the same time. So he took off work to make sure everything was okay. She sees Michael. She tells Michael to get the baby. The youngest son, I think he's like 11 years old. He Justine tells him to like grab the baby too, so to pull him closer, pull the little girl closer to him. So they run upstairs and they pull both of the boys into their bedroom. So you got Michael Jr., which is Michael's son. He's 14 and Santana is 14. We find out that Santana is has autism, and it's high functioning autism. The things that he struggles with is like expressing himself. When he gets very angry, he like shuts down. So Michael's like, somebody speak. So they sitting in the room, and Santana is saying that Michael Jr. was bullying him. Like pushing up on him, shoving him in the face, like shoving him, pushed him to the ground. And Santana got so mad that he threw his iPhone. And you know, iPhone, girl, you drop it one way, the whole screen shatter. So I know for a fact, throwing it up against a wall, everything's gonna shatter. And that's what happens. Like it shattered across the I think it was like, that looked like the front of the phone. It shattered. Like it's shattered. I said, my goodness. And so Santana was like, so then Michael is just like, why would you throw your $1,500 iPhone? I said, that was your fault for giving a 14-year-old a $1,500 iPhone, sir. Like Samsungs are, that's one thing you can give Samsung, is that they're durable. Them cell phones are durable. Like it's like iPhones, like I said, you drop it, it cracks. You give that boy a Samsung, but I said you spend $1,500 on an iPhone for him? Okay. And so Michael's like, why would you do that? And so then he asks his son, so what happened? So then Michael Jr. was like, Santana was talking bad about his mom, saying how Justine is a better mom to them than his mom. And then and then saying that his dad, like basically being nasty, like the little boy was talking bad about the little, like that, about Michael Jr.'s mama. So he got mad, and Michael Jr. is big compared to Santana. So he shoved him and told him, if you was a man, you shoved me back. But you know, that's a lot. It's a lot of kid right there. And so Michael was like, so you talking bad and got mad. And he was talking bad and got mad. Like, why couldn't y'all just figure out how to talk about this stuff? He says, you know what? Y'all are grounded. Y'all are grounded until like y'all 75. Because I can't right now. And so then Santana is like, you're not going to fix my phone. And Michael said, fix your phone for what? And so then the little boy, the youngest boy, who Justine was like telling, like, hey, check, like, you know, grab your sister. He up in the room just being nosy. And Justina said, I told you to check up on your sister. Now go do that. I wasn't mad at him. He 11 years old. I'd have been in there too nosy as hell too. Like, what's going on? Who getting in trouble? And so Michael is like, he sees himself as a father to both of them, but like it's just a lot going on. And so then after like Santana is like, you can't give me a new phone, Michael is just like, no, you're not getting a new phone. Justine is like, you know what, at this point in time, like y'all are in trouble, because like what was the reason for all of this? You stressing me out, you're stressing your daddy out. And then Michael's like, I don't like leaving work early, and mainly it's because they need the money. So then he get mad enough and punch a hole into the wall, and Justine is just like, my life. I said, yeah, girl, your life. Looking at Michael like, sir, this is why your kids is violent, because why would you punch a hole into your wall in front of your children? Why? And Michael is just like, he was like, I just need space. He's like, I need to go. So he wops. I mean, and it's a big hole in the wall. And for some women, that would have turned them on. For me, I'd have been like, you gonna fix that? Because you're gonna need to fix it. We got to pay somebody to fix that. And so Michael leaves the house, and then the episode goes off. So yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. As always, remember to be bravely authentic, and definitely drop down in the comments below and share your thoughts with me. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.